What is doing the right thing? In this video, we talk about moral courage.
You seem a million miles away, Liam. Is everything all right? You've been staring at that same car for 10 minutes as if it holds the secrets to the universe.
Sorry, Chloe. My mind is just completely occupied. I'm wrestling with something that happened at work this week, and I honestly don't know what to do about it. It's left me feeling really conflicted and, frankly, a bit sick to my stomach.
Conflicted? That sounds serious. Do you want to talk it through? Sometimes just saying it out loud can help untangle the knots.
I think I need to. It's about a big project we're working on for a new client. It's a really important contract for the company, maybe our biggest of the year. This week, my manager, Mr. Harrison, called an urgent meeting. He told us that we are significantly behind schedule and over budget. His solution is to switch a key component in the final product to a cheaper, lower quality alternative.
Okay, and I'm guessing this isn't a simple, harmless switch.
Not at all. The problem is that we explicitly promised the client the higher quality, more reliable component in our official proposal. It was one of our main selling points. Using the cheaper one isn't just cutting a corner. It feels fundamentally dishonest. And more than that, I know from my technical background that this cheaper part has a much higher failure rate. I've seen the internal reports. It'll almost certainly cause significant problems for the client within the first year. It could damage their business and absolutely destroy our company's reputation for quality.
Wow, so this is a serious ethical issue with long-term consequences. What happened when he told the team?
Nothing. That's the worst part. There are 6 of us on the team, and I know for a fact that at least 2 others, Sarah and David, feel the same way I do. I could see it on their faces. Their eyes went wide, but nobody said a single word. The room was completely uncomfortably silent. And in that silence, Mr. Harrison just said, "Great, glad we're all on board," and moved on as if he had just announced a new coffee machine. I haven't been able to sleep properly since.
That sounds incredibly stressful. You're caught between your professional duty to your manager and your ethical duty to the client and your company's integrity. This is a classic high-stakes test of what we've talked about before, moral courage.
I know, but this feels so much bigger than the last time we discussed this. That was about a hurtful joke. This could affect my career. My performance review is next month. If I speak up, I could be labeled as difficult or not a team player. Mr. Harrison could make my life at work miserable or even find a way to get rid of me during this restructuring. I have rent to pay. The risks feel enormous.
You're right to feel that way. The risks are real and tangible, and that's why moral courage is so challenging and so rare. It's not just about overcoming the fear of social awkwardness. It's about facing real negative consequences. What you're experiencing is a powerful psychological phenomenon, not just personal fear.
What do you mean?
It's related to something called the bystander effect. In a group, individuals are less likely to intervene in a problematic situation than if they were alone. Everyone's mind is doing the same calculation. This is wrong, but surely someone else will say something. Because no one is acting, it sends a powerful social signal that the correct thing to do is to remain silent. It creates a diffusion of responsibility. Everyone feels a little bit responsible, which means no one feels responsible enough to take the first terrifying step.
That's exactly what it felt like. I was thinking, surely Sarah, who is more senior and has been here for 10 years, will speak up. And she was probably thinking, David is the technical expert. He should raise the quality concerns. So we all just waited for someone else to be the hero, and the moment passed.
And it's not just the bystander effect. It's also likely a case of groupthink. This happens when a group values harmony and conformity over critical evaluation. The desire to avoid conflict becomes so strong that people suppress their own doubts. No one wants to be the one to rock the boat, especially when a manager like Mr. Harrison seems so confident in his decision. The unspoken rule becomes go alone to get along.
Go along to get along. That's the company motto, it seems. So we're all caught in this web of silence. But how do you break free? I'm not a hero, Chloe. I don't want to stand up on a chair and make a big speech about ethics. I just want to do the right thing without ruining my career.
And that is a very wise and practical way to look at it. Moral courage isn't always about loud, dramatic confrontations. In fact, that's often the least effective way. The most effective form of courage is often quiet, strategic, and thoughtful. It's less about being a martyr and more about being a skillful advocate for your values.
Okay, I'm listening. What does a skillful advocate do in this situation?
Well, the first step is to recognize that you don't have to be a lone warrior. The silence in the room doesn't necessarily mean everyone agrees with the decision. It just means everyone is afraid. Your first strategic move could be to gather allies.
You mean talk to my colleagues? I'm worried they'll report me to Mr. Harrison for creating trouble.
I know, that's a valid fear, which is why you have to be smart about it. Don't send a group email. Go to Sarah or David privately, the ones you think feel the same way. Grab a coffee with one of them and start the conversation carefully. Don't start with an accusation. Start with vulnerability.
What would that sound like?
You could say something like, "Hey Sarah, can I get your opinion on something? I've been feeling a bit uneasy about the component change on the new project, and I really respect your experience. I was wondering what your thoughts were on the potential long-term impact."
That feels much less intimidating. By asking for her opinion and showing respect, I'm not pressuring her. I'm just opening a conversation as a concerned colleague.
Right. If she agrees with you, you are no longer alone. You've broken the bystander effect for the two of you. Suddenly, it's not just Liam's problem, it's our concern. There is incredible strength and psychological safety in knowing you are not the only one.
Okay, let's say Seraph agrees with me. What's next? Do we go to Mr. Harrison together? I can just imagine his face.
You could, but that can still be very confrontational. A more skillful approach is to reframe the argument. Right now, you're thinking of it as a moral issue, honesty versus dishonesty. Mr. Harrison has already shown he is thinking of it as a business issue, budget versus deadline. To persuade him, you need to speak his language.
Speak his language? You mean talk about money?
Precisely. Frame your concern in terms of risk management and long-term profitability. Instead of challenging his ethics, which will make him defensive, challenge his business logic. You and Sarah could prepare a brief, one-page memo or an email. Don't fill it with emotional language about what is right or wrong. Fill it with data, numbers, and business-focused projections.
What kind of data?
The documented failure rate of the cheaper component versus the one you promised. The potential cost of repairs and customer support when the product inevitably fails. The quantifiable damage to your company's brand if the client writes a negative online review. You can even find studies on that. The risk of losing future contracts with this client and any other clients they might talk to. Frame your courage not as a moral complaint, but as a professional concern for the long-term financial health of the company. It makes it much harder for him to dismiss you as being naive or overly emotional.
That is a brilliant idea. It completely shifts the conversation. I'm no longer just Liam the troublemaker. I'm Liam the strategic thinker who's looking out for the company's bottom line. It gives me a professional shield.
Another subtle but powerful technique is to ask strategic questions in a group setting. This requires a bit of bravery, but it can be very effective. Instead of making a statement like, "This is a bad idea," ask an innocent-sounding practical question that forces everyone to confront the issue.
Give me an example of a question like that.
In the next project meeting, when the topic comes up, you could ask, "I have a quick logistical question about the new component for Project X. Could someone help me understand what our response plan will be if we see the expected 15% failure rate in the first year? I just want to make sure our customer support team is prepared to handle the call volume.
That's clever. It's a completely professional question, but it brings a hidden problem right out into the open. It forces a discussion about the consequences without me having to make a direct accusation or sound disrespectful.
So, you see, you have a whole toolkit of options now. You can start by gathering allies privately. You can reframe your argument in the language of business risk. You can ask strategic questions to raise awareness. These are all acts of moral courage, but they are also acts of professional skill and communication.
This is so helpful. Before, I just saw two terrible options: be a coward and stay silent, or be a martyr and get fired. Now, I see there's a middle path, a path of skillful courage.
That's the key. And it's important to remember why you're doing this. This feeling of unease you have right now, that knot in your stomach, psychologists sometimes call it moral residue. It's the heavy, sticky feeling we carry when we fail to act in alignment with our core values. That feeling doesn't just go away. It can build up over time and lead to burnout, cynicism, and a loss of passion for your work.
I can feel that already. It's like a little piece of my integrity has been chipped away, and it makes me feel less enthusiastic about my job in general.
Exactly. So, acting with moral courage is not just about protecting the client or the company. In a very deep way, it's about protecting your own self-respect and your professional soul. In the long run, your integrity is the most valuable asset you have. The short-term comfort of silence is often not worth the long-term cost to your character.
You're right. I need to do something. I feel much clearer about it now. I think I'll start with plan A. I'll ask Sarah to go for a walk at lunchtime tomorrow. It's less formal than a meeting. I'll use the approach you suggested, starting with vulnerability.
That sounds like a perfect first step. Remember, you don't have to solve the whole problem tomorrow. Your act of courage is just to start the conversation and break the silence.
And if she agrees with me, we can work on the next step together. Maybe we can prepare that risk assessment memo. It feels good to have a plan. It feels like I'm taking back control from my fear.
That's what moral courage does. It transforms you from a passive victim of a situation into an active agent of your own values. It's not easy, Liam, and there are no guarantees it will work. But choosing to act is how you build a character you can be proud of. And that is a foundation that no difficult manager or corporate restructuring can ever take away from you.
You're right. I need to do something. I feel much clearer about it now. I think I'll start with plan A. I'll ask Sarah to go for a walk at lunchtime tomorrow. It's less formal than a meeting. I'll use the approach you suggested, starting with vulnerability.
That sounds like a perfect first step. Remember, you don't have to solve the whole problem tomorrow. Your act of courage is just to start the conversation and break the silence.
And if she agrees with me, we can work on the next step together. Maybe we can prepare that risk assessment memo. It feels good to have a plan. It feels like I'm taking back control from my fear.
That's what moral courage does. It transforms you from a passive victim of a situation into an active agent of your own values. It's not easy, Liam, and there are no guarantees it will work. But choosing to act is how you build a character you can be proud of. And that is a foundation that no difficult manager or corporate restructuring can ever take away from you.
Thank you, Chloe. This conversation has been more helpful than you can imagine. You've given me a map to get through this fog. I still feel nervous, but it's a different kind of nervousness. It's the nervousness of a challenge I've chosen to face, not the nervousness of helpless fear.
That's the feeling of your courage muscle getting ready for a workout. You can do this.
Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just leave a comment.